And then from out of nowhere came this enormous hand which seized him by the collar and dragged him away. Now we'll tell you all about it. This is the story of Aladdin. He was an orphan who lived in a big city with his mother. He was a poor young man, but a good-hearted one and honest too. So he never asked for more than what he needed. Now, even though he was poor, he had a friend called Rizal, who was as poor as he was, but a little bit cheeky. You know, the sort of guy who could get you into trouble with his pranks.
Ho, ho, ho!
One day when they were walking through the marketplace, Rizal spotted a crowd gathered around something or someone. And because he couldn't resist the temptation of a bit of gossip, he pulled Aladdin along with him and pushed his way into the crowd. What they saw made them gasp. In the middle of the square stood a man dressed in emerald green robes. His face was hidden behind a tall, pointed hat. But what caught their attention most of all was the fact that he kept raising his arms as if he wanted to show everybody something.
Ho, ho, ho!
"What's going on here?" asked Aladdin of a woman standing nearby. "That man wants to sell you something," she replied, "but he won't show you what it is. That's why none of us are buying anything." Then suddenly, Raphael slipped his arm inside the man's robe and pulled it back out again, holding something in his hands. All the people around burst into cheers and applause. The man in green took a deep bow before reaching under his robe again, pulling out a small box.
Ho, ho, ho!
With a flourish, he placed the box on the ground, opened it up, and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Whoever can guess what's inside this box wins whatever is inside it." "A golden palace," said a woman in the crowd. "No, it's a bag full of gold," said a man. The crowd started arguing and shouting, but no one could agree on what the prize might be. When Aladdin and Rasul heard this, they looked at each other. They knew just how to turn this to their advantage. Aladdin quickly leaned over to Rasul and whispered, "I bet it's a magic lamp."
Ho, ho, ho!
You heard the man. Whoever guesses correctly gets what's in the box. Rasul nodded and walked right up to the man in green. "I'll try my luck," he said. The man smiled mysteriously. "Very well. Let's see if you're right. If not, you'll have to pay dearly for wasting my time." But Rasul wasn't afraid. Instead, he put his hand in the box and pulled out a lamp covered in copper. "May I ask what kind of lamp this is?" he asked, pretending to be puzzled. The man in green's smile disappeared. He reached for the lamp, but Rasul held it out of his reach.
Ho, ho, ho!
"Don't you want to keep your promise?" he asked. The man sighed dramatically and threw his arms up in the air. "Fine, take the lamp," he said. Then he picked up the box, bowed deeply to the crowd, and disappeared into the throng of people. Aladdin and Rasul couldn't believe their luck. Not only had they guessed correctly, but they also had a magic lamp. And that's exactly what it turned out to be. As soon as Rasul rubbed it, smoke started coming out of it. The smoke swirled around and formed itself into a huge, friendly-looking genie.
Ho, ho, ho!
"Greetings, Master," boomed the genie. "As you are the first master I have ever had, I will grant you 3 wishes without asking any questions." "Oh, wow," stammered Rasul. "I never thought I'd meet a real live genie. Well, this calls for a celebration. Come on, Al, let's go buy some wine." But Aladdin shook his head. "I think we should make a wish for a place where we can stay so we'll have somewhere safe to keep the lamp."
Ho, ho, ho!
And that was a very wise thing to do, because while they were celebrating and having fun, a strange man was watching them from afar. He was a dark sorcerer who had been searching for a magic lamp for a long time. When he saw the genie come out of the lamp, he felt a powerful surge of magic. He knew instantly that this was the lamp he had been looking for. When Aladdin and Rasul had made their wish for a palace and settled in, the dark sorcerer decided it was finally time to make his move.
Ho, ho, ho!
He crept into Aladdin's bedroom window and snatched the lamp off the bedside table. Then he made a wish for a magical flying carpet and whisked himself away before Aladdin and Rasul even realized the lamp was missing. When they woke up the next morning and found the lamp was gone, they were horrified. "What are we gonna do now?" cried Aladdin. "How are we ever gonna get our lamp back? Without it, we're just ordinary again." "Calm down," said Rasul. "I'm sure we can find it. But first we need to find a way to defeat that evil sorcerer.
Ho, ho, ho!
I bet he's hiding in the Cave of Wonders." Aladdin shook his head. "You know I'm not allowed to go in there. Remember what happened to my father? He went into the cave to get some diamonds and never came out." But Rasul wasn't listening. He had already set off in the direction of the Cave of Wonders. "I'm going in there whether you like it or not," he shouted back. Aladdin had no choice but to follow his friend. It was dangerous, but he would do anything to get his lamp back.
Ho, ho, ho!
Deep inside the cave, the walls started closing in on them, squeezing them tighter and tighter until it was almost impossible to breathe. "We need to get out of here," gasped Aladdin. "I can feel the walls closing in on us." Suddenly, they heard a loud voice booming through the cave. "Who dares enter my domain?" They turned to face the source of the voice and saw an enormous elephant, its tusks gleaming in the flickering torchlight. "It's the guardian of the cave," whispered Rasul. "If he captures us, we won't get out alive."
Ho, ho, ho!
Just then, Aladdin noticed a small opening at the top of the cave. "Quick, let's go that way," he shouted. They climbed and climbed until they reached the top. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet gave way, and they both fell through into a secret passageway. At the end of the tunnel, they saw another elephant blocking their path. This one was even bigger than the last. Its eyes glowed red in the darkness. "Great," muttered Rasul. "Just great. We've got another elephant blocking our way." Then Aladdin had an idea. He pulled out the lamp and rubbed it.
Ho, ho, ho!
"Genie, I wish I had a sword that could defeat an elephant." In a flash, the genie had produced a gleaming silver sword. Aladdin took it from the genie and charged towards the elephant. The sword glowed brightly, and with a final mighty blow, Aladdin defeated the elephant and the cave began to collapse behind him. They had escaped the Cave of Wonders and were now free to search for the dark sorcerer's lair. The whole city was in chaos and destruction. Aladdin knew the dark sorcerer had used his powers to cause all this damage.
Ho, ho, ho!
But he also knew this meant that the dark sorcerer must be nearby. Then Aladdin heard the sound of a woman crying. He and Rasul followed the sound and soon came across a beautiful young princess sitting on a stone bench. She was crying so hard her shoulders shook. "What's wrong?" asked Aladdin. "My father, the king," she sobbed. "He's been turned into a frog." "What?" exclaimed Rasul. "How could anyone do such a thing?" "The dark sorcerer," said the princess, wiping her tears away.
Ho, ho, ho!
"He did it to punish my father for refusing to give him the key to the treasure vault." "Don't worry, princess," said Aladdin. "I'll bring your father back. Just show me where the dark sorcerer is hiding." The princess led them to an abandoned palace on the outskirts of the city. "He lives in there," she said quietly. Aladdin and Rasul thanked her and disappeared inside the palace. The dark sorcerer was practicing his evil magic in the throne room when he heard a noise at the door. He turned to face his guests and let out a roar.
Ho, ho, ho!
So you've come to stop me, boy, he snarled. Well, I won't go down without a fight. He waved his magic wand and the room began to shake. The dark sorcerer was very powerful, but Aladdin was more determined to win. He dodged the dark sorcerer's attacks and struck him with the magical sword. The sword glowed brightly, and with a final mighty blow, Aladdin defeated the dark sorcerer. Then he grabbed the lamp from the sorcerer's hand and made a wish to restore everything to how it was before the sorcerer had ruined it.
Ho, ho, ho!
Finally, Aladdin returned home to his mother, and from that day forward, he and the princess ruled the kingdom together, happy and prosperous.
Ho, ho, ho!